the students responded incredibly. There was a general feeling of enthusiasm. Well, in fact, even before the program started, it was clear that there was actually a lot of curiosity, a lot of interest in the program, because we actually had a waiting list, so not everybody could make it into the program. And yeah, so the students who were in the program were particularly happy because they knew that they made it. Yeah, the interesting thing about the group of students was that there was a lot of diversity. So in fact, the students were coming from different backgrounds, different experiences, different ages also. Some students were younger, some students were older. Originally, we had thought the program to be aimed more at younger students, so in their BA programs, so that this could be also preparation for those students who wanted perhaps to come over to Amsterdam for the master program. In the end, the kind of students who applied for the program were coming from really different backgrounds and different experiences. And this was actually very interesting because although maybe they also had different expectations, then the response and the enthusiasm that they had was really palpable. It was really, incredible to see. And it was difficult because in a program like this that is online, you are not actually meeting the students. You just see them on the screen. And also the duration was short because we couldn't make it as long as we wanted it to be if it had been here on location. So we had to compress everything. But even so, when the students submitted their evaluations of, the kind of feedback to the program, well, we had really enthusiastic responses. So that was really good to see.
The winter school itself was something of an experiment, so neither Dr. Marco Pasi nor I really knew what to expect. However, when you bring the enthusiasm that we have for these subjects, when you bring that to students, I think it's always hoped or maybe even desired that they'll share that with you. And I have to say, we were totally blown away that for every little bit of enthusiasm we gave, we found it given back. So that is always so energizing. And one of the difficulties is when you are hosting a Zoom class, you don't have the body-to-body connection. You don't see body language. It's hard to get a rapport. Sometimes jokes don't land because the punchlines are asynchronous. You get it. However, within the online environment, there are some things you can do that you couldn't do in a classroom. For example, I have a lot of primary source materials. These are the actual texts that we are researching. They're a little too delicate to bring to the classroom. However, because I'm in my home library, I could just bring them out and show them. That's pretty cool. And another thing is, because there are threads, you can really participate in the class anytime you want. And I was really satisfied to see how active these threads were. New posts were coming all the time, and because I wasn't being asked these questions directly, I had time to think. And I think that the space that was allotted by this particular form of interaction was really productive, not just for me, but also for some of the students. I can appreciate the fact that not everyone can think on their feet. Not everyone is so spontaneous with their responses. So by having this web-based approach, we were able to hear different voices and to have different conversations, which ultimately was a blast.
My experience with teaching the course was actually very nice. Let's be honest about it. This is not ideal. We have been used to meeting people, hanging out with them also outside of the classroom, getting to know each other. There is a kind of rapport that is being created between students and teachers that clearly is not the same when you have this kind of online-based programs. We are getting used to it because the reality is that also in our regular teaching here at the University of Amsterdam, we are now, like anywhere else, teaching all of our courses online. It's a learning experience also for us, so we are learning how to do it, and we are getting better and better. So obviously we are now using some tricks that we are learning to make the experience more interesting and nicer. Now, there are good things and bad things about the situation. The good thing is that we have been able to attract students from all over the world, literally from all over the world. And it's interesting to see how the study of esotericism now is really reaching out to such a vast audience of people. And these are students who perhaps would not have been able to come over to Amsterdam if the program had been on location. So it was really nice to see that these people who have a sincere, honest curiosity, interest in these kind of subjects were able to join, were able to be there. So that's certainly the good thing about it. And it is so good that we are actually thinking about whether we should not continue to do this, to offer this kind of online-based program, also in the future when the situation, hopefully, at some point, will get back to normal. So maybe in the future we might consider the possibility of offering this kind of program, either in the summer or in the winter. We will see about that, both on location and with this online form. And then we would be able, of course, to cater to perhaps different kinds of audiences. Perhaps with the on-location program, we would be able to reach out to potential students who would also consider the possibility of moving to Amsterdam for other programs, so longer programs like our master or research master program.
The material we presented in the Winter School really represented the fundamentals for the study of esotericism. So going into the course, I knew exactly what was going to be on the syllabus. These are the texts that are almost universally referenced in the scholarship. So I was really confident that we had a strong syllabus. However, I had to retune my sensors because the course was totally open. That means people who had, for example, never really looked at some of this material, but had a strong interest. How do you make them feel welcome alongside the people that have spent decades meticulously going through this stuff? Well, the plan was close reading. We would introduce a text. I was teaching it alongside Dr. Marco Pasi, and we had a number of guest lecturers, including Peter Forshaw, Dr. Manon White, Dr. Henry Graff. And what I encouraged them to do was close reading. So let's not assume we know anything, and let's take each other by the hand and walk through some of these sources and really point out some of the details or nuances that perhaps people who have looked at this stuff for years may not recognize. And it takes a fresh pair of eyes to realize. And I have to say, doing these close readings on shared texts was so fun because we got to see them anew by virtue of discovering them together. And it was really cool at the end of the course to hear the students who had devoted a lot of time to this material talk to the students who are new to it and really engage in these fruitful, dynamic conversations about, what do you see here? Oh, that's not what I see here. So, and it's by virtue of the energy generated by the student-to-student interaction that some of the guest lecturers and myself were able to intervene and say, whoa, what about this other thing? And what we had here was an ecology, so to speak, of curiosity, interest, fascination. And really, it was out of this ecology that I think the excitement over the course was produced.
I'm a PhD student at Central European University, and last winter I took a course with a professor, George Shea, who is a renowned specialist in Western esotericism, and he taught us a brief introduction into the history of Western esotericism, and he seen that I was very interested in the subject and recommended me to participate participate in the summer school of Amsterdam University. And I was really mind blown because I discovered that all the authors and all the specialists whom I just knew as from the titles of my favorite books were there and were actually real people with whom I could have a chance to interact personally. So for me, it was not even a question. I was absolutely sure that I was going to join this course. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, the summer school this year was cancelled, but instead we had this amazing experience of having the best of two worlds, of sitting at home and at the same time joining the same amazing bunch of people who really changed my perception of, a lot of ideas and really gave me a lot of inspiration to continue my research and to maybe even reframe my current research into some other direction, which is more interesting for me.
I found about the winter course visions of the occult on the internet and also through books. I looked for where renowned historians of Western esotericism such as Wouter Hanegraaff and Marco Pasi teach, and so I found that UVA really is the place in Europe for this type of studies. I applied for the program because I have a long-time interest in the history of Western esotericism, from antiquity to the Renaissance to the New Age, and so I wanted to ground my knowledge in a more solid and structured way. I also applied because I am a coach and a counselor for personal development, and I wanted to know more about the roots of what I do, which in the past, in ancient times and cultures, was the role of the shaman.
This is an amazing course because it gives a brief overview of the whole program, the whole master program which University of Amsterdam offers in the history of Western esotericism. So you get to know a little bit about lots of subjects that are taught there. So, and I was really impressed by the interaction with our teachers because they did our best in spite of the fact that we were taking this course online to create a very friendly and very interesting atmosphere in which we got the chance to dive into such amazing subjects which I never knew that were even accessible through academic sources, like the history of alchemy, the history of Gnosticism, the history of rejected knowledge in general. So this is really mind-blowing because when you think of it as an experience that you can get in a university, it's really interesting, and it's really important that we have the chance to study all those subjects which are so inspiring from the point of view of actual science.
The program was intellectually stimulating. There was a good balance between classwork and individual work. We had the possibility of choosing our own topics of interest for the written assignments. So we had a broad overview and understanding of the history of Western esotericism, and I especially learned how to think about these subjects from an historical and critical but also open point of view. So there was quality of contents, and also the program was well packaged and also fast paced, and so I am very happy with it.
The online experience was not so bad after all. I was a little bit concerned about it because it's a new format, but it appeared to be very interesting and very inclusive and very friendly. And due to the fact that we had an online platform through which we communicated, this Canvas website, we had access to all the materials, we had access to the library, we had access to communication with each other. We had access to communication with our tutors. We had Zooms with our teachers, and they taught us a lot about how to write, and I got a lot of tips for even for just academic writing in general, not only about the subjects that were taught there. So overall, I think it was it is a very interesting and very useful experience, because one of the most interesting things that actually impressed me in this course was the geography of our students. I don't think that it would be possible to gather all those people together in a real, actual setting in the Amsterdam University, because it would be too expensive for most of the participants, because we had people from China, we had people from Australia, we had people from Europe, we had people from east coast of the United States, from west coast of the United States. It's mind-blowing. And we all were joining together in classes, and we were discussing things. We were like actually having such thought-provoking communication everywhere, in the Zoom chats, in the classes, in the WhatsApp a group chat that we created everywhere. It was very interesting, and it still is, because we're still communicating through the group chat and WhatsApp. So I think this is one of the most precious experiences. And one of the other interesting things is that the people who joined this class were not only students, and were not only beginners. It was a very mixed class. And I think that this is a very interesting and innovative approach, because usually we are used to see only like young people who have more or less the same experience in the classroom. But there, due to the fact that it was online and it was accessible for wider audiences, we got a very diverse group of people. So there were students, they were MA students, BA students, PhD students, as well as established professionals, as well as people who already have their careers elsewhere, journalists, writers, researchers, psychoanalysts. And this enriched the atmosphere, and this enriched the experience tremendously, because it was a real thought-provoking interaction of mature and inspired individuals.
My overall experience of the course was very enjoyable. This year, because of the pandemic, it was an online course. Now, I myself teach online, so I know how it can be challenging to keep the interest high, and so I can say that our team of instructors did very well. We were a diverse and international group of students. They made us all fully participate in the course, and also the group spirit was very positive. We had an amazing team of instructors. Greer from California was our main host and class conductor. Also Marco Pasi, Walter Annegraaff, of course, and we also had as guest instructors Manon Edinburgh-White and Peter Forscher. And so each one of them contributed to the course with their unique knowledge and also personality.
I would definitely recommend this course to anyone who is interested in the topics that fall into the subject of the history of Western esotericism, because this is one of the best universities and the most well-known programs that is dedicated to these issues. And this is a group of really interesting professionals, the best in their field, who are also open to students and who are creating such a friendly and inspiring environment that you actually want to learn from them. And I think that this online program in which we participated this year should definitely be continued, and I suggest that everyone joins it, because it's one of the best things that I did this winter.
To anyone seriously interested in the study of the history of Western esotericism, I can say, take this course. It will open your mind, it will make you think about Western culture, about the history of ideas from the past to the present in a more open, complete, and also interesting way. And you will have the chance to meet and connect with very special people.
By using an online platform, we had students from all over the world, and it was by virtue of their different opinions and points of view that the guest lecturers really felt as though they were dealing with a different audience, people that really had dramatically different perspectives. And the feedback that they received was, wow, this is like a whole new thing. This is a whole new way to teach esotericism. So, yeah, it was really quite a happy moment for us at the center by virtue of really blazing a trail or going where we haven't gone before. And so, yeah, from what I was able to see, the variety of the student population was really exciting for both the guest lecturers and myself. Also, I just have to admit, the students were really fun and really adventurous and exciting and friendly. And while it is an intensive course, 2 weeks, meeting every other day for hours, that demands a lot. I think that we were really feeding off of each other's excitement. And once you create that type of atmosphere, really things are self-perpetuating. I think things really are enjoyable. And the more work you put in, the more enjoyment you receive from it.